Pursuing money without valuing time is like filling a bucket with a hole in it. No matter how much water you pour in it, it will continue to leak out. Similarly, no matter how much money you accumulate, it won't bring lasting happiness if you don't have control over your time and can't enjoy the fruits of your labor. Prioritize gaining control over your time when considering how to use or invest your money. The freedom to do what you want when you want is often more valuable than any material possession. Tail events. Heinz Berggruen, a man who fled Nazi Germany and settled in America, became one of the most successful art dealers of all time. He collected a massive amount of art, including works by famous artists like Picasso, Klee, and Matisse. In 2000, he sold part of his collection for over 100 million euros. But what was his secret to acquiring so many masterpieces? Was it skill? Was it luck? According to Horizon, a research firm, great investors buy vast quantities of art and hold on to them for a long period of time. They wait for a few of those paintings to become well known and worth a lot of money, even though most of the paintings they bought were not worth very much. In other words, it's not about being right all the time, but having a diversified portfolio and waiting for just a few winners to emerge. Perhaps 99% of the work someone like Berggruen acquired in his life turned out to be of little value. He could be wrong most of the time, but that doesn't particularly matter if the other 1% turns out to be the work of someone like Picasso. These events are known as long tails, when a small number of events can account for the majority of outcomes. The long tails of Berggruen's art collection are what led to his ultimate fortune. The story of Berggruen teaches us a valuable lesson about investing, and this long tail concept also applies to many aspects of business and investing. The obvious example is venture capital. Most of the startups in a VC fund will fail and lose money for the fund, but all they need are a few outlier startups which make 20x returns to make up for these losses. Take Amazon for instance. In 2018, it drove 6% of the returns on the S&P 500, even though it is just one company. And if we look inside Amazon, its growth was largely driven by two tail events, Amazon Prime and Amazon Web Services. These two products alone more than made up for all of Amazon's less successful experiments, such as the Fire Phone or travel agencies. After the disastrous release of the Amazon Fire Phone, rather than apologizing to shareholders, Jeff Bezos said, "If you think that's a big failure, we're working on much bigger failures right now. I'm not kidding. Some of these are going to make the Fire Phone look like a tiny little blip." Bezos understands that it's okay to make mistakes and fail with most products if the process creates the 1% of tail event products that drive everything. Tail events are mostly unintuitive and hidden from us because we only see the finished products and not all the failures along the way that led to that finished product. Housel in the book uses a real-life example of a stand-up comedian. When you're watching the Netflix special, you're probably saying to yourself, wow, this comedian is amazing and hilarious. But what you aren't seeing are all the trial and error failed jokes that the comedian tried out in small clubs all around the country before doing the special. The Netflix special is the 1% compendium of all the tail event jokes that actually made people laugh. 99% of the jokes along the way were probably just okay. When it comes to investing, even though long tails are prevalent, most of us ignore them. When things go wrong, we tend to overreact. As soon as you accept that tails drive everything in business, investing, and finance, you realize lots of things may go wrong, fail, or fall apart. Remember, out of nearly 500 stocks Warren Buffett has picked, only 10 have made the majority of his money. Good stock pickers will only be right half of the time. Good leaders will only make good decisions half of the time. The fact that you might be wrong sometimes doesn't mean that things won't work out over time. In the end, the outcome can be determined by only a small number of events. In investing in business, don't sweat frequent failures or average results. Success often hinges on a few major wins or tail events that outweigh your losses. True wealth versus being rich. It's so important to understand the difference between being rich and being wealthy. Richness is about your current income and the things that you own, while wealth is about the financial assets that you have yet to spend. True wealth isn't what you see, but what you don't. It's easy to assume that someone driving a Lamborghini is wealthy, but appearances can be deceiving. In reality, many individuals are living beyond their means and relying on debt to fund their flashy lifestyles. Wealth isn't about the cars you drive, the diamond rings, or the homes you own. It's about those financial assets that you have yet to spend. Accumulating wealth takes self-control and restraint. The diamonds, watches, and first-class upgrades that you decline all contribute to your overall wealth. It's easy to find rich role models who spend lavishly, but true wealth is hidden and therefore harder to imitate. We're conditioned to believe that having money means spending money, but the real key to building wealth is to save and invest the money you have. In fact, the only way to be wealthy is to not spend the money that you do have. The next time you see someone driving a fancy car or living in a big house, remember you can't judge wealth by appearances alone. The true key to wealth is self-control, restraint, building assets, and investing in your future. Aim for long-term financial security by accumulating valuable assets. Rather than equating wealth with material possessions like flashy cars and luxury goods, focus on building true wealth, not just the appearance of being rich. The real price. Imagine you're climbing a mountain with the goal of reaching the peak and admiring the amazing view. Maybe you will get sunshine that day, maybe rain. You may get lost, you may fall and injure yourself. The difficulty of the climb is not always apparent until you're in the thick of it. From the ground looking up, the path to take may seem obvious, but along the way you will certainly need to reassess and change your path to the peak. You are under no illusion, however, that there will be some golden escalator that will safely take you to the peak. You understand before the climb that this uncertainty and risk is just the price you have to pay to get to the top. But when it comes to investing in the stock market, many people think they can avoid the uncertainty and risk and get something for nothing. Housel likens the stock market to getting a new car. If you want to get a new car, you have three options. You can buy a new car, buy a used one, or you can steal one. The new car is a higher price, but the reward is greater. Think of the new car like aiming for 12% returns from the stock market. The used car is cheaper, but also comes with less reward. The used car is a much safer investment, but only returns 4% per year. Stealing a car is like trying to get something for nothing. 99% of people would avoid stealing the car because the consequences outweigh the benefits. However, when it comes to the stock market, people seem to be under the impression that they can take option 3 and steal from the market. They try all kinds of tricks and strategies to get good market returns without paying the price, attempting to sell right before the dip or buy before a boom. Consider, for example, wanting to earn an 11% return over 30 years in preparation for your retirement. From 1950 to 2019, the Dow Jones Industrial Average has returned about 11% per year. Over those 69 years, however, of course, there have been many high highs and low lows. For many, the sight of their investment going up and down can be traumatic, so they try to get in and out quickly without paying the price of volatility and uncertainty over the long term, akin to trying to steal the car. The price you must pay is not just about dollars or cents when investing. It's about accepting the emotions that volatility, fear, and risk can bring. Recognizing that successful investing comes with a price is crucial. The price is not immediately obvious, but you have to pay it, just like you would for any other product. The key is to convince yourself that the market's fee is worth it, and it's an admission fee worth paying. There's no guarantee that it will be, but if you see the admission fee as a fine, you'll never enjoy the experience. Be willing to pay the price once you find it. View market volatility as an admission fee for the potential of higher returns, rather than as a fine for doing something wrong. This mindset will help you stick with your investment strategy for longer time periods and during tough times. Hedonic treadmills. Enough. No when enough is enough. Become familiar with the concept of hedonic adaptation, or the hedonic treadmill. Every time you hit the goal, you keep moving the goalpost further ahead. You need only look at the demise of Bernie Madoff and Gupta, two men who already had everything and were ultra wealthy, but all the money in the world would never have been enough, both resorting to crime to make even more money. The pursuit of wealth and success without a sense of knowing when enough is like climbing a never-ending ladder. No matter how high one climbs, there is always another rung to reach for, and the pursuit can become all-consuming, leading to a lack of happiness and fulfillment. Set a stable goal for what enough means to you. Otherwise, rising expectations will keep you perpetually unsatisfied and prone to needless risks. Be aware of the pitfalls of social comparison. Instead of endlessly comparing yourself to others, focus on what truly brings you happiness and fulfillment.